To welcome you, President Lawyers for Animals, who is joining us by teleconference. My name is Mark Pearson, and I am the Chair of the Select Committee on Animal Cruelty Laws in New South Wales. I would like to help set the scene for you, Ms Donovan. We are here in the Macquarie Room at New South Wales Parliament, and I have with me 8 other members, well, in spirit as well as in form, of the committee. The Honourable Lou Amato, the Honourable Mark Banasiak, Miss Abigail Boyd, the Honourable Sam Farraway, the Honourable Matthew Mason-Cox, Honourable Walt Secord, the Honourable Mick Veach, and the Honourable Emma Hurst. A lot of honourableness there. Members of the public and the media are also present, and the proceedings are being recorded by Hansard. Could you state your full name and job title for the record and take either the oath or an affirmation?
My name is NICHOLA Donovan. I am the voluntary president of Lawyers for Animals, and I would like to give an affirmation. And my affirmation is: I solemnly, sincerely and truly declare and affirm that the evidence now about to be given by me shall be the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Thank you very much. And would you like to make a short opening statement?
Yes, I would. I have not prepared a written statement, however. I just wanted to talk about the reasons why this inquiry is very important to me personally and to Lawyers for Animals, who I represent today. It has been a topic, the topic of animal cruelty law enforcement has been a topic of great interest to Lawyers for Animals since our inception in 2005, so roughly 15 years ago. It became even more important from about 2007 onwards as we established ourselves and came to be working very closely with people who were reporting acts of cruelty to us, and also perhaps coincidentally encountering acts of cruelty in the community and then attempting to report those to the relevant agencies to be investigated and hopefully prosecuted, and especially to see the animals alleviated from suffering. And our experience was that although I do not wish to blame the charities that undertake the enforcement of most animal cruelty laws in both your state and my home state, which is Victoria, I don't wish to blame them for being unable to adequately enforce the laws, because I am aware that they would not be working in this field without the very strongest and best intentions of caring for animals. The only blame that I could impart comes more recently after the example set by the ASPCA in New York, who voluntarily relinquished their inspectorate powers, having realised that they too were suffering the same kinds of problems that the charities suffer in Australia. These are quite complex and legion, and I hope to go through a few of them, discuss a few of them with you today in my evidence. But yes, I just want to state from the outset we don't blame them, but we did encounter, ineptitude and sort of almost self-deception in terms of the reasons given for why apparent acts of cruelty weren't investigated or followed up. I could perhaps refer to some of my own personal examples of this if you wanted me to, but I don't want to take up a lot of my time in the opening statement referring to those. I will just mention the basic reasons why I believe charities are ineffective in providing the service of animal cruelty law enforcement, and why Lawyers for Animals has come to believe that it would have to be a separate and separately resourced unit within a police department that would be best able to undertake law enforcement. And we say that having considered the idea of a separate government agency, however independent, of undertaking that enforcement, our experience as lawyers with police, although we obviously don't all have the perfect ideal relationship with police, we do have a mutual respect for their ability to uphold the rule of law and their focus on that rule of law. And we don't think that agencies that don't deal in the law as at the coalface continually every day as police do, we don't think that those agencies do have the same focus or interest in upholding the rule of law. Again, we have many examples of this in Victoria. Unlike New South Wales, what's known as Agriculture Victoria, an office within the Department of Jobs, Business and Regions, I think it now is, it changes its name regularly. Agriculture Victoria is one of the appointed inspectors under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, and under a memorandum of understanding with RSPCA Victoria, they undertake the vast majority of investigations and animal cruelty enforcement for farm animals. Unfortunately, their investigation and prosecution of animal cruelty cases is, to put it lightly, minimal. I did a little comparative analysis last night, which showed me that the current prosecution rate, well, let's look at it this way, they undertake roughly 9.8 on average, 9.8 prosecutions per year, although they also state that there are roughly 22.1 million animals raised in farms in Victoria. So that's just an incredibly low prosecution rate. Even with they also only undertake around 1,000 inquiries into animal cruelty investigations. But even if those 1,000 inquiries result in 9.8 prosecutions, that's an incredibly low translation rate. And we don't know how many inquiries overall complaints they receive because they don't state that publicly.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We're probably going to have to wind up the sort of initial statement there so that we can move into some questions. Are you aware of any sort of memorandum of understanding between RSPCA New South Wales and Animal Welfare League New South Wales and the Department of Primary Industries? Any memorandum of understanding where at a given point a prosecution is taken over by the DPI?
No, I'm not aware of any such memorandum of understanding in New South Wales.
Okay. Does anybody else have? Emma Hurst is going. So if you can say who you are when you ask questions.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Emma Hurst from the Animal Justice Party. As lawyers, do you think it's appropriate for a private charity to be responsible to actually fundraise from the public to be able to enforce criminal law? And if not, can you please give us what your key concerns are with this arrangement?
Thank you. Yes, we at Lawyers for Animals think it's highly inappropriate for law enforcement to be provided based on charitable fundraising, we only have to point to the idea of our state police forces being required to raise charitable funds to cover around 2/3 of their own law enforcement budget to realise how ludicrous this would be. We don't ask the Salvation Army or the Smith family or St de Paul to undertake any kind of criminal law enforcement. And yeah, we just think it's absolutely inappropriate. And the chronic underfunding of RSPCA has certainly contributed to their not being able to undertake sufficient enforcement.
So do you believe that the New South Wales government should be responsible for fully funding the enforcement of the Protection of Cruelty to Animals Act?
Yes, we absolutely do believe that. However, we don't believe that even the full funding of enforcement, if it were undertaken by a non-government agency such as one of the existing charities with responsibility, would ensure that the rule of law is appropriately upheld.
What do you think would be a better model of enforcement of POCTA?
We, at Lawyers for Animals, we have long thought that what we would call the police model of law enforcement is ideal, but in particular, since the New York experience in 2014, where the NYPD formed an independent or a unit of their own called the Animal Investigation Squad, and at the behest of the ASPCA, formed a partnership with the ASPCA, whereby the police undertook all of
Is it us? I'm sorry about that. There was just a strange noise came through. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. You might just want to speak a little bit closer to your microphone, if you don't mind. So have you finished your answer, or
No, if I
Okay.
could just finish that answer, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's important.
I think that the New York model is also known as the police model, which is now also, I understand, a similar model is to be adopted in Ontario, in Canada, and they have something somewhat similar in the Netherlands as well, operating quite successfully there, although not in relation to farm animals there, and I would like to see this model implemented for all animal cruelty enforcement.
We've heard evidence that if such an approach was made by the New South Wales government, that there'd be a loss, and that would be the use of the resources of the RSPCA, and the police as well as the government have both stated that they would be concerned that the RSPCA would not be there as a fundamental resource for them if they were to look at animal cruelty matters. But you're referring to the experience in New York. Can you just sort of clarify as to how that eventuated and how the enforcement aspect in the police and the ASPCA over there were able to continue to work together?
Yes, I can refer to the amount of detail that I have been able to extract, which is only since 2016 when we became aware of this model. We got in touch with the ASPCA, and we also consulted the ALDF, the Animal Legal Defence Fund, just to confirm that everything we were hearing from the ASPCA was in fact true and correct, and that they were achieving fantastic results through their partnership with the NYPD. So the ASPCA, I understand in New York, initiated the transition from charitable enforcement to a police model, and perhaps in doing so, that was part of the well, not that they would have to initiate it, but in doing so, they were able to reach agreement with the NYPD on first a pilot program being undertaken, which I think is a very good idea, to test the model and to tweak any changes that need to be undertaken in staffing. But they basically agreed that they would continue to provide full backup in terms of animal care, veterinary care, and forensic expertise required for prosecution.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now, Mr. Banaziak has a question for you.
Thank you, Mr. Donovan. Given that you didn't give a written submission, can you provide a bit of clarity about your association in terms of what it actually does? Are you similar to the Animal Defenders Office that we have in New South Wales? Are you just lawyers that like animals? Do you represent animals in court? Like, what activities does your association sort of undertake on a regular basis?
Sure, look, I apologise for not having provided that submission. I currently have...
No need to apologise. Just, I guess, for clarity in terms of your association.
I just wanted to ask permission to be able to submit the draft submission. I currently have 5 pages before me. Actually, I think it's longer than that. And we do intend to provide that before the inquiry wraps up. However, certainly, let me introduce us. We are a not-for-profit association. We are not currently a community legal centre like the Animal Defenders Office in New South Wales, NCT. So we don't actually have the legal indemnity insurance to undertake our own cases. We have partnered, however, with the Community Legal Service in Victoria, the Victoria Legal Service, in order to provide our volunteers, our members and volunteers to run an animal law clinic where we give free legal advice to anyone who seeks advice and appears to have common interests with the animals involved in the animal law related case. So we've been running that clinic since 2013. We've recruited some knowledge there. We are an entirely volunteer-run organisation. We have members in, I think, every state and territory of Australia. However, our executive is based in Melbourne, and we tend to have, therefore, more of a focus and understanding and experience in Victoria.
Do you have a rough membership number in terms of your association? Do you hold memberships, or is it how does that structure work?
We do hold memberships, and we are as an association, we report annually to Consumer Affairs Victoria. Our membership number at the moment, there is, well, put it this way, we have financial members who renew every year, and that membership number is reasonably low. I think it's around 50 at last count. It could be a little higher, actually. It could be between 50 and 70, but it's not. But because we have had members from the past 15 years that we've been operating, most of whom remain on our mailing list, our mailing list is significantly larger, so probably in the order of 250 to 300, mostly lawyers. Some people join our association as law students also, and work as volunteers at the clinic as law students as well as lawyers. We have a current executives numbering 13 who are all admitted lawyers.
Okay, just one more question. One of your recommendations is, I guess, the police model. Have you done any workup or studies into how much police would be needed? We know at the moment the RSPCA have about 32 inspectors. The Animal Welfare League has 4, and there's been arguments to say that that's not enough. we know that the police are already understaffed as it is, and they're struggling to, find police to man stations. So have you done any work up in terms of what figures would be needed for this specialist police unit?
We haven't done any work up on what the numbers would be in New South Wales or Victoria for that matter. We have been trying to obtain through all sorts of means, including a form of freedom of information request through the NYPD in New York, some understanding of the size of their unit, and then hoping to be able to roughly extrapolate that to the population of our particular state. But we haven't as yet received that information. I did suggest in my request that they might send the information directly to the inquiry if they weren't comfortable about giving it to an animal advocacy group, but I assume that they haven't done so. I would suggest that the inquiry contact, if they haven't done so already, with the NYPD to request that this kind of information that we have not been able to acquire. Do we think that there would need to be more officers in the RSPCA, and all currently have? We assume that there would need to be more. However, we don't know exactly how many, and we believe that there would be likely to be enormous efficiency gains through the use of a police department and the expertise and just all the networks and expertise that a police department would bring to the prosecution and also the investigation would probably lead to large efficiency gains. We have also had an idea...
Could I just ask a question there, please? Mark Pearson here. Is one of the advantages by the police being the main enforcement agency is that they have access to a lot of data on any person who may come to their attention, where the RSPCA and the Animal Welfare League does not?
Yes, and this has been highlighted in research from Canada, which led to the recent changes in Ontario, that it is a huge failing in the current system that the RSPCA officers are effectively going in blind at times because they do not have access to the kinds of very private and guarded police databases about offenders or past offenders, and also the firearms licences existing with members of the public and all this sort of information. And we've had dreadful experiences in Victoria, partly as a result of the RSPCA not wishing to enter premises without police backup, and also in relation to the safety of the RSPCA officers in Victoria. Being severely undermined. In one case, one inspector was killed.
That's right.
Yeah, they don't have weapons training, they don't carry weapons, they just simply lack the security that should be required or is required for a job like this.
So just...
It's discussed as a major issue of labour rights, that this will be an ongoing and increasing issue of putting people at risk in their employment.
Thank you very much for that, Ms Donovan. I'll hand you over now to the Honourable Walter Cord.
Could I just, just to complete my answer to the previous question about police resourcing in New South Wales in particular, we had an approach from one police officer in New South Wales who mentioned that there were quite a number of police who were currently not deemed fit to serve in the force of a, how do you describe it? She describes them as being older police who weren't necessarily able to pass the very high requirement of fitness training to undertake work in the field, and yet who were not yet at a point where retirement could be considered, and that there was an issue with trying to find suitable employment for that number of people, and we saw a potential, potential to utilise that reserve of police who are, I understand, not currently being used because they can't quite meet the incredibly high fitness levels required.
But still employed by the police service, is that right?
Yes, they're still employed by the police service.
Okay, we're probably just going to have to leave it there because we'll move on to Mr. Secord.
Yeah, Walt Secord, Australian Labor Party. I still haven't settled my views, and it will probably evolve during the parliamentary inquiry. But it has been put to me that if you have the RSPCA, Animal Welfare League, and the police, three bodies looking at animal cruelty, that you have a wider scope, more chances of investigations actually occurring. What do you say to that argument?
That our experience is it has been anything but the case, and that in fact, if you made a phone call to the police to report animal cruelty, at least in Victoria, unless it was the direst emergency, and I don't know exactly how to explain that, there are very few cases where, well, I have never had an experience where I've been able to get the police to attend and respond to an incident of animal cruelty, because there is always the option, which they use frequently, of referring people to the RSPCA. So if you ring the police in Victoria and report an animal cruelty offence, you will immediately be told that there is no point reporting anything to them and that you need to hang up and call the RSPCA.
Well, aren't you?
That's what happens in New South Wales a lot of the time too.
Well, aren't you then, in fact, unpicking your own argument, where police resources are stretched beyond belief, are stretched to breaking point, and therefore they're saying, yes, animal cruelty is disgusting, is horrible, however, we have other things to do, and can you please refer it to the RSPCA or the AWL? Aren't you, in fact, unpicking your own argument with that argument?
I'm sorry, but your voice is not coming through very well on my telephone, so I didn't hear properly the whole question.
Okay, well, aren't you in fact unpicking your own argument by saying the police are saying send it to the RSPCA or the AWL because we have limited resources, we're stretched to breaking point, we have efficiency issues. In fact, aren't you actually getting coverage of animal cruelty issues because they're being referred to the AWL or the RSPCA? That's the argument that's been put to me during the break.
Okay. No, the rebuttal to that argument is simply that we are not suggesting that the functions of RSPCA and AWL be transferred to the New South Wales Police as a whole. We are very much recommending that a separate specialist unit be set up within New South Wales Police. Let's call it an animal protection unit, for example, and that the animal protection unit being separately resourced with staff dedicated to undertaking animal cruelty law enforcement would not have that constant issue which we encounter all the time whenever we ask for resources.
Thank you.
Animals, that humans must come first, and that humans not only come first, but second, third, fourth, and fifth, and there is no kind of understanding of the overall benefit of always having some appropriate and adequate coverage of animal cruelty law, not just for animals, but for humans as well.
Thank you.
A separate unit, I think, would address that issue. And as for police resourcing, yes, police resourcing would be a problem, except that police resourcing comes from the state. It doesn't need to be raised by charities. It's likely that should have state indemnity, which the charities don't have, and this has been a major problem in Victoria.
Okay, thank you for that. We're just
No. I just wanted to thank her for clarifying it. I pushed her back because I actually wanted her to distill what she was actually putting before us. So I thank you for that.
Great, thank you very much. We're going to, Ms. Abigail Boyd is going to ask a question.
Thank you. Ms. Donovan, accepting the rather delicate way that you put it in your opening statement in relation to the abilities of the RSPCA and acknowledging, as you say, that they're in it for a particular reason and they are underfunded and all the rest of it. You did mention that you have witnessed some ineptitude from the RSPCA. Are you able to elaborate on what you mean by that and perhaps give some examples?
When I mention the ineptitude, I'm referring to situations where I think the employees of the RSPCA are placed in an untenable position. They're being asked to respond to cases, in particular I'm referring to the telephone reporting, people who receive the initial complaints by telephone or receive the initial complaints by online or by email, and how they are required to, in order to undertake any degree of work and in order to maintain some function, they have to reject a large number of those complaints. And in order to reject the complaints, they often, whether consciously or subconsciously, make up excuses. The best example I could give of this is when I chanced upon a dog that had broken its back after falling a large distance from the balcony down a balcony that was overhanging a cliff in metropolitan Melbourne by the river. And I found this dog and I took it to the vet immediately, and they eventually, shortly thereafter, they managed to contact the owner because, in fact, one of their affiliated vet clinics had treated the dog, and then they got permission to put the dog down. But that dog had been lying in that position for I don't know how long before I chanced upon it in this quite city bushland. And when I reported it to the RSPCA and asked them to at least visit the property where I believed there was someone suffering mental illness who had perhaps lifted this small dog over the balcony rail, because I had, at that stage, I had been inside the property, I had met the residents, I had seen the ill individual, I had looked at the balcony rail. The dog in question was a very old pug. It could not possibly have jumped the 1.2 metres over the balcony rail. I explained all this. I took photos of the balcony. I sent this to the RSPCA to support my complaint, and the telephone recipient of my complaint explained that they probably wouldn't have the resources to send anyone out, and repeatedly stated that it sounded like the dog had accidentally fallen from the balcony and therefore there was no cruelty. And when you've explained 3 times that it's not possible for the dog to either fit through the rails, which were half the size, the gap between them was half the size of the dog, it's just these kind of small, very small matters like this. I've also had, another example is where the RSPCA investigated the case of the cockatoo, which was locked in a very small cage inside an exhaust workshop in North Melbourne. And they agreed with all of my contentions that the cage did not meet the requirements under the various laws and codes of practice, and that, in fact, this cockatoo was being held in abject cruelty. But they also stated in the end, and we received a written confirmation of this,
Do you have a question?
that the RSPCA would not, even though they had approached the owner and asked them to, and we had approached the owner and offered them an aviary where this bird could be taken and with home in the long term, free of charge. The owner had refused point blank to do anything to fix the bird situation.
So are you saying, is there evidence that because the RSPCA is just overwhelmed with so many complaints, they have to filter them to such an extent that probably some cases have been neglected to be investigated because of that very factor?
Yes, but it's not only to do with their lack of resourcing. I point out that in part, and my last example was to try to explain this further, that we got an official response stating that the reason they wouldn't be taking them out of further or protecting that particular bird by prosecuting the offending owner was that they did not have the resources to enable them to undertake the prosecution unless, in their words, the words to this effect, because I don't have the letter before me, in cases where the public would be outraged to learn of such cruelty taking place. So they had imposed their own standard that was completely outside the standards set by the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act to decide when a case should be brought to prosecution. And it was a much higher standard, obviously, to require the, and also totally subjective standard on their part to determine what would outrage the members of the public were they to learn of the acts of cruelty being undertaken.
Okay, look, I just have to hold you there.
Well,
I just
mindful
have
of
to hold you
time.
there because Mr. Veitch would like to ask a question of clarification.
Ms. Nichols, just a point of clarification. So those examples you've just provided the committee are based on your experience in Victoria. And so essentially what you're saying is, though, that would be, in your view, a similar situation in New South Wales.
Yes, and also from reports that I have received in New South Wales. And also Lawyers for Animals undertook a particular small project back in, I think it was 2010 possibly, in relation to a New South Wales case where a man had killed a horse with a hammer and dragged it almost behind a vehicle while it wasn't standing. And the RSPCA had prosecuted in that case, but had an outcome at magistrate court level which resulted in a mere bond. And we requested that the RSPCA undertake an appeal against sentence in that case. And we were met with sort of the filtering response that they would like to, but they don't have the resources to enable them to undertake any kind of appeal.
Okay, thanks for that. Ms. Hurst is now going to ask you a question. We're starting to run out of time.
Yeah, just in regards to, I mean, it sounds like you're talking a lot about the RSPCA not having enough resources, and we were talking about that potential to sort of have an animal cop area of the police force. I mean, essentially, does this all come down to the fact that the government here in New South Wales, and just talking specifically about New South Wales, is possibly not giving enough funding towards the Protection of Cruelty to Animals Act and enforcing that criminal code, and wherever that money would go to ensure the proper enforcement, whether that money went to the RSPCA or to build a dedicated area of the police force, at the end of the day, to be able to deal with some of these cases that you're talking about, essentially it all comes down to the fact that there's just not enough money going into enforcing this laws.
If that were the case, and if it were only a question of resourcing, I don't think we have seen a significant improvement in the enforcement of animal cruelty law in New York that we saw with the transition from a charitable model to a police model.
So they didn't get an increase in funding the police when they took it on?
I'm not, again, apologies, but I've not been able to extract
Okay.
Perhaps because I'm not a government agency, I hope that you might have more luck in doing so. I expect that the monies that would otherwise be dedicated to funding the RSPCA and all in New South Wales would naturally be transferred across to any separate unit of the New South Wales Police. So that would at least be some initial funding boost and resourcing for the unit. But yes, I'm not aware of how much more money.
We'll write to them and seek that information, actually. Yeah. Are there any other questions?
No.
There's the bell.
I think we can. There are no more questions from committee members, and the bell's ringing. So we can. I think we need to. We can just close this this interview with you now, and I really appreciate you taking the time to give us this information.
Questioning notice.
And I don't think there are any
I just
questions.
want to note that I will be sending through a submission in the next couple of days, I hope, from Lawyers for Animals.
Okay, that'll be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the
No
involvement.
questions on notice. No.